Hello everybody, welcome to the Ron Paul Channel Studio. In this day and age of spreading information, it's not getting on one of the major networks, it's not getting into the Washington Post or the Boston Globe anymore. It's alternate media, it's the internet and handheld devices. And this is all an opportunity for us, and I get to do what I like doing. So to have this studio and an opportunity to visit with subscribers and to have special guests on the air and interview, it's a new opportunity for me, and I know I'm going to enjoy it, and I hope everybody else does, and I hope we really contribute something very beneficial to the cause of liberty. But let me just show you a few of the things in the studio. The people who put the studio together asked me to put a few mementos up, to make me feel at home. And that's what I have over here. Of course, we have a little flag over there. It's called the Texas flag, and that makes sure that I get to stay at home here and recognize that. But everybody will recognize, of course, a copy of the Constitution. I've mentioned that a few times in our speeches. Right up here, there's a picture. That one is not quite as recent. But here's another picture that I picked out because it was one of my favorite pictures. It's with somebody I've been living with for about 55 years or so. My wife, Carol. Now, for the background here, and most everybody has seen this because it's been involved in the campaigns for the last 8 years. It just happens that if you reverse 4 words there, the word love comes up. Right here we have a set of books that deals mostly with economics there and monetary policy, and they're well-known books. Of course, I've been interested in the gold standard. Here's a book by Rockwell, The Left, the Right, and the State. Another famous book by Murray Rothbard, Man, Economy, Estate. Probably the most famous book on Austrian economics was written by Mises. Mises was run out of Germany by the Nazis. He arrived here, essentially didn't speak English. At the age of 60, then he wrote his greatest book, and he wrote it in English. I think that's pretty marvelous. I think a lot of Americans have trouble with 2 languages, but he learned it late and wrote this great book. And many people know about this book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. Of course, Hayek is a famous Austrian economist. He's also wrote the book, The Law. And here's a novel. This one was given to me by my mother. I was still, I graduated from college, and I also started medical school then. And it was also at the same time I read Atlas Shrugged. And they were novels that had some influence on me. Pieces of Eight is also a book about the constitutionality of hard money, especially the emphasis on silver. Here's a set of books that represent my effort to put my thoughts down. They're smaller in size, but they represents my thoughts. Here's a picture of President Reagan and myself. He was not president then. He was a candidate coming to me and asking me to support him. And he eventually turned out to be the president that I knew the best. This is a picture that was taken during the war in 1942, I believe. This was a house that we lived in. It had a total of 4 rooms. So the 5 boys slept in one room. But lo and behold, in the basement, my dad ran his business, which was a dairy. If I used to kid, I said, boy, when I get a college degree, I'm going to make sure I don't have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to deliver milk. But lo and behold, what did I do? I ended up delivering babies, and sometimes I didn't even get to go to bed. And this son, I believe, ran for the Senate once, and I believe he won, too. Rand, and he now lives in Kentucky. There are 2 things they always ask me about Rand. First, why does he live in Kentucky? It's because his wife was from Kentucky, so that had a little bit of influence. And the other thing they ask me is, did you name him after Ayn Rand? And the answer is no, although the family and myself, we've been fans of Ayn Rand, although I'm not an objectivist, but my wife is very adamant. No, she had no thought of naming Rand after Ayn Rand, because his name is Randall and it was named after a family member. This might be recognized by a few people because it sat on my desk probably for close to 10 years because it says everything. Don't steal. The government hates the competition. So the equipment is here. It's up to me to do a good job. The one thing I am firmly convinced of is we are correct on the philosophy. We just need messengers. I'd like to be that messenger. I keep working at it. I keep trying to improve myself because there's no reason